Hey guys, Stephen Markfort here, your mobile guy and owner of Kickback Wireless Solutions. I just want to introduce this video. It is out of my Becoming a Mobilized Parent online course, which you can find at mobilizedparent.com. And this is actually lesson 2 of my first module, which is the discussion on children ownership and whether a child is ready for a device and whether a parent is ready for their child have a device. And that's what I break down in this video. And I also have a printable PDF that you can print off, and it goes right alongside this video if that's something that you're interested in. The information for that will be down below, or you can go ahead and message me and request that document, because it's really nice having a printout for it. If you're looking for any more education again on parenting, you can go to mobilizedparent.com, or you can go to yourmobileguy.com. You can see the URL right up there, and check out all the other free educations I have for you. Enjoy. All right, and now we're going to jump into children ownership question and the criteria for that ownership. We're going to cover personal responsibility, safety needs, and social reasons. So starting off with personal responsibility, one thing that all the studies out there show is that how kids act in doing other things is how you want to apply to how they're going to deal with mobile technology. So keeping you informed is a very important part of using these mobile devices. So one question you want to ask yourself is, does your child openly or naturally come to you when they encounter something that makes them uncomfortable or scared? Because this is naturally going to happen if they're going to be on mobile devices. It's a gateway to the pretty much any type of knowledge that they want to get out there. And then another question that you should ask yourself is, do they let you know when they leave the house or get to a friend's house, especially when you ask them to do so? Because that is a common thing when children first get a mobile device that they are asked to do, is to let their parents know where they are. So if they don't do that already without a phone, then they're probably not going to do it once they do get a phone. Moving on, as far as the personal responsibility, the history of losing things. So mobile devices are not cheap, even though you can get a good deal when you sign up with new phone numbers and stuff. But so you kind of want to compare that to the history of losing things, like their homework, their backpack, perhaps the jacket or toys. If they're bad at keeping track of those things, giving them something that's worth possibly a couple $100 up to over $1,000 now, it's not probably something that you want to do. Moving on, more personal responsibility things is following rules that you or other guardians set that we haven't touched on already, like being home at a specific time, listening to their teacher, they do their chores or go to bed when asked. And I know kids will be kids, but a general consensus of how they react to the rules that are already set for them. And then here's one that's kind of along the same basis, is following TV restrictions. It is a form of a screen, and becoming more and more there's becoming less and less of a boundary between the two, but how do they follow TV restrictions will be a good determinant of how they will follow the possible restrictions that you put on them when they do get a mobile device. So moving on, besides personal responsibility, there might be other needs, such as safety needs. This is a reason that I got my first phone, was because I needed rides to and from school, and so needs rides to school or sports, or possibly after school clubs. Maybe they walk home from school, so it'd be nice for you to know that they have a phone in case something happens. Perhaps they have a medical condition like asthma or diabetes or an allergy. Maybe you feel more comfortable with them having some kind of means of communication because of that medical condition. And then also driver, if they are driving, you don't obviously want them to use the phone while driving, which is a risk that you take giving them that privilege, but there are ways to counteract that I go over during the course of all the educations I have out there. But in this instance, it has to do with letting you again know when you get somewhere, if they break down, having that means of communication is something that you do want to take into account. Then moving on to the last reason is social reasons. And I know this is at the end because it's not as important as the other ones, but fitting in with peers, as they get older, there is going to be that pressure for them to fit in with their peers and have a mobile device to be able to be social with them and stay in touch with, the trends and things that are going on. Not a great reason, but it is something to consider. And then another thing is how are they, whatever about their life as far as bullying goes, where they stand. We'll go over cyberbullying in another education, but you want to kind of take a look at where they stand as best as you can in their social circle and see if giving them a smartphone will make them more likely a victim of bullying or being a bully, or if they fall somewhere in between. So those are great questions to ask yourself. All right, now we're going to talk about the children ownership question pertaining to parental readiness. And in this education, we're going to learn about the power of explaining your choice, create a plan, and the recommendations that I have for you. So moving on here, the power and ability to explain your choice, making sure your children know why they get the privilege of owning a mobile device is super important. And then if their actions change once they're given the privilege, you can take it away. So that's one of the benefits of going through all of these educations, is being able to explain why or why not your kid is able to have a mobile device. And then number 2, create a plan to keep them safe and healthy. So prevent overusage that could lead to unsafe and destructive behaviors, which I go over in another education. And then prevent them from being exposed to material that is not age appropriate or dangerous. So that's 2 key things that if you're being able to get yourself ready for this, you want to be able to prevent these things if at all possible. And then again, I go over these things in future educations. And then here's my first 3 things that I recommend for parents to do if they do decide to get their children a mobile device, is to get a protective case so it doesn't break. Again, these are kids and they're expensive. Create a password that obviously, so then if they do leave it somewhere or whatever it may be, then a person can't gain access, wipe it, and start using it. And then also learn how to track and locate the device so that you're able to find it if they do leave it. As you can see, all 3 of these things are very likely to happen with a child, so you do want to have those 3 things done. And then I have this chart kind of illustrates where I kind of recommend, also based off of the studies that are out there and some of the government agencies, they don't say to give them access to any significant amount of device ownership before the age of 2. You could possibly have a dedicated tablet if you have one laying around, but owning one is probably not the best case. One thing that has changed recently, you can see the little bit darker blue on the smartphone line kind of extending back to where the basic phone is. The reason why I had that higher up towards the age of 10 where the average is right now is that because of the cost. But recently my mind has been changed because I think having a smartphone as their first phone can be super beneficial as far as if you lock it down and have them only really have access to the benefits of it. And then as well, also besides that, a lot of parents are looking for tracking ideas because their kids are walking and they just want to be able to know where they are. And with a smartphone, there are a lot more options to do that than with a basic phone. And around 6 is when those kids start riding the bus by themselves and going home and that sort of thing. So I've kind of adjusted my smartphone age down to the age of 6, as long as you again are fully ready for you've gone through this training and understand all the nuances of having a child at the age of 6 have a smartphone. So I hope this education was beneficial to you.